Hello fellow humans and welcome to this week's shop review, and we already start off with the big one that gets slapped right into your face, and that is the TL-7-120, which we will review in detail later. Now it is in crates, which means you should immediately avoid this vehicle at any cost and not buy it under any circumstances. The drop chance is only 4%, which is very bad, and the crates are pretty damn expensive, so you should, under any circumstance, ignore this vehicle, but we're going to review it later anyway. What you should also definitely ignore is lockboxes. Lockboxes are a very predatory model, somewhat similar to the razor and blades model, where you give them the razor for extremely cheap and then you have to buy the blades very expensively, so you keep getting hooked and you have to spend a lot of money when it's absolutely not worth it. Lockboxes are very bad. Do not buy them, the keys, because they're a predatory system, really. Now, T5A is bad. Already talked about that last week, just like I talked about the 907 as well. Now, what I do recommend with these draws is get the first two, because those tend to be somewhat worth it. Then after that, it becomes a horrible shit show. The Styra WT is not really worth it. So, get the first two. That's good, and that's what I would recommend. Now, the battle passes are pretty useful if you play a lot, and if you get to level 60 anyway, then the battle passes are an absolutely amazing addition to what you can get. Now, we then continue with the rest of the tanks, and is there anything interesting here? Well, we still have this vehicle, which, I mean, it's a meme. Not really worth it. The 907, I looked at that in detail last week, so check that out if you want to. And then we have the Lancen C and the Action X. The Lancen C is not really a vehicle that you want as a main credit grinding tank. It does have 202 penetration, which is not 180 at least, but 320 alpha damage, 0.3 accuracy. It's not like, it's a solid vehicle-ish, but the problem is it's not a main credit-making tank. It requires a lot of skill to play. It has very low DPM, and mobility could be somewhat better. So overall, it's not really a main recommendation from me, and given that the price is 7.5k, that is a no from me, clearly. Then the same goes with the Action X as well. 7.5k is too much for this vehicle. The regular Carnarvon is better than this tank, and while it does have a solid base of 2.7k DPM, the 190 alpha damage completely destroys this vehicle. And the armor, while okay, it's not really amazing. And yeah, the alpha damage is completely ruins this vehicle, which makes it worth like 5k gold, but not worth it in this particular configuration, especially because those ×5s are also locked to the tank, and locked ×5s are always bad. Now, the M6, like I said last week, it's a good price to performance, but it's a bad performance. So I personally wouldn't recommend this vehicle, just like I don't recommend camos every single week. And in other news, there is a new event, the Basket of Wonders, which you can get if you play enough, and that contains the 8 Ball of Fortune, which you can sell for 5k gold. So I definitely recommend playing through it. You can grind it in Gravity if you want to. However, don't get out of your way to grind through this, because it is just a couple of tiny little goodies that don't really matter that much. The gold boosters can also be very useful if you can get them. So collect your eggs. Let's have a look at the stats of the TL-7-120. It's very standard in terms of the gun. 400 alpha damage, 250 penetration, 2.5k DPM. That is very standard, right in the middle of all of these. Then the accuracy is fine, again, somewhere in the middle. It's slightly better than the average here, but it is definitely solid. Now, only 7 degrees of gun depression compared to, for example, 10 of an AE Phase 1. A Kennedy 1 also has 7, or a Object even has 8. So that's not good. Now, the power to weight ratio is 16.4, which is very solid. However, the reverse speed on this vehicle is only 10 kilometers. That is some T72 type reverse speed, which is really, really horrible. That is going to really suck. And the armor, speaking of armor, here it is. The front plate is very thick and basically unpennable. The lower plate, however, is thin, and you can pen it with hash even. So that is a big weak spot. Now, you have these plates on the side, so don't shoot HE or heat at the side of this vehicle, because these plates are going to catch it. They're only 5mm, but they're going to do it. The rear armor obviously doesn't exist. And then the turret is also pretty well armored right here, but it does have a pretty damn massive cupola on top that is very easy to pen, so which essentially negates all the turret armor advantage it does have, because everyone can just shoot it straight into that cupola, which is sad. Let's go with this vehicle that is basically just a very, very squished M103 with a cupola on top. So, whatever the price is, no. This is one of those tanks that you better ignore. It's like a T55A, but in the American tech tree. Like, why would you want it? So, anyway, the camo is cool, at least, but again, it's all at the front. There's nothing interesting at the back. It's just, I don't know, red. What is that color? Put it in the comments. So now let's see what we can do with this vehicle. The problem is, it's not very good at hull down because it only has 7 degrees of gun depression. And it's not very good at hull down because it only has, well, it has a massive cupola on top of the turret, which makes it bad at hull down. Now 2.5k DPM is very standard for heavy tanks of tier 9. 10 kilometers an hour reverse speed is very bad. The armor is pretty damn solid on the front plate and the turret, but the problem is it doesn't matter because if you have a massive cupola, they're going to shoot you there. And the sides of the turret aren't really great either. So overall, this is a vehicle that you'll get through fine if it's a tech tree tank, but you should never ever spend money on. So let's see, it's back off. Gonna have to get the gun up. It's got a pretty long gun, so that's an advantage at least. So you can kind of use the gun to block the cupola in a way. There is the, yeah, that just goes straight through the vehicle, which is not good. This team spread's a bit interesting. But let's see what we can do here. Kyler is now going to come around to me, and there's an IC up there, and this team is falling apart. I can already see that. So we're going to have to take care of this guy quickly and easily. That's not going to be big of a problem because I can just peek him quite easily. Now, come on, aim. There we go. Now, I'm going to reposition. I'm going to go over there. He doesn't peek me because he knows that he doesn't have a chance, which means I'm going to go up here, and there's a Skoda. Ouch. And the team is continuously discombobulating, which is definitely not helpful. Now, the ice is still alive somehow, so that's at least something. We're going to have to deal with that quickly, and now I'm pretty much dead. Because that TVP is just gonna, no, the Skoda is just gonna reload and kill me. So, he is reloaded now. It's not good. And here he is. Try to track him. One bounce. I need one more bounce, really. It's not gonna happen, so I'm gonna get close here. And he does bounce again. Okay, that should have not happened there, mate. Now it's 3v5, which is not really good. And he's so slow in reverse. Damn. It's got the armor. If you don't aim. This is new armor, right? If the enemy doesn't know how to aim, then the armor is excellent. But if the enemy does know how to aim, then it's worthless. And now I'm dead. So, anyway. My recommendation of this vehicle is stay away from it as far as you can. And ignore it. And shoot it in the cupola if someone happens to have it. So that's it. Thank you very much for watching. See you next one. Goodbye.